So I hope y'all like them. I love them. They're fun. They make me smile. They make me happy. So this is the first one we're going to make. So let me put all these away. I don't want to damage them. So each of the projects will come with their with a box template. So you'll have that, okay? I'm still typing it. And then here is the packet. Here's my inspiration sheet. And so these are the papers that we're using on this project. The first thing we're going to do is cut the designer series paper because, as y'all know, I don't cut your paper. I give them to you. You get 2 each of the papers, 6 by 6. So 2 of each. So that's what we're going to do first is we're going to cut our paper. You only need 1 of that one to do all of this. And this is for our hearts here, okay? I wanted to save a little bit of time on today's video on making the project. So I went ahead and cut the little hearts out. So this sheet of your paper does not get cut. You're going to use your heart dies to cut these little hearts out. So that's what this is here, is just the designer series paper. But this piece is the one that you're going to be cutting. 3 1/4 is going to be our first cut. So 3 1/4. By 3/4. So that's less than 1 inch. And we need 2 of those. And then our next piece is 3 1/4 by 1 1/2. So we're going to go over here to the 1 1/2. My husband cut all the paper yesterday too. Wasn't that nice? Okay, so the next cut is 1 1/2. Oh, maybe we do need that other sheet. No, we don't. 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. 1 1/2. There we go. So this is what you have left over from that one, okay? There's no stamping on this project. We're going to take the Detail Trio punch now, and we're going to round just one side. Yeah, he did all the swag bags yesterday, and he cut all the paper. When he was done, he said, "Am I done or do I got more?" And I'm like, "Well, you could cut some other stuff too if you want to." He said, I'm done." Okay, so now let's make our box. I'm going to get the Simply Scored scoring tool. And like I said, this is your template. I've got to add the measurements to it, but this class does have its own templates. So on the 7-inch side, you're going to score it at 1 3/4 on both sides. Okay? Then on the long side, the 9 1/4 inch side, you're going to score it at 1, 2, 3 3/4, 5 1/2, 7 1/4, and 8 1/4. Oh, thank you about the nails, Robin. Chewy will be happy to hear that. She did my nails, was that Wednesday, I think? And she said that she had been watching some of my Facebook videos trying to find comments about my nails. And I'm like, well, they don't comment unless I make a change. So you made a comment. They just got changed. I had had black for too long. I'm kind of done with that now. And hopefully there'll be no more funerals for a very long time. Okay, so I've folded on all the score lines and burnished with my bone folder. Now I'm going to get the scissors. And we're going to remove the corners on all 4 sides. So that's the first step. Just cut those. Okay. It's actually raining outside right now. It finally warmed up just a smidge, but it don't feel it because it's raining. Of course, I guess it's better rain than snow, right? Now we need the Detail Trio punch again. We're going to round the corners. And you can always tell when it's raining because the humidity kind of affects my punches. Do y'all notice that? Okay. And we still have a little bit more cutting to do, but I wanted to get that step done so I didn't forget it. So over here on the side, I'm going to cut up to the score line on both sides. And this middle section here, I'm just going to trim half of that off. Okay, this is how it looks now. So we're going to add our adhesive to those right there. I should have made sure I had my adhesive close by. Well, I never really move it. It just kind of gets shifted around in my little rolling cart here. I need my little gift card. Okay. Ooh, y'all can keep the snow. I don't want no part of it. Tennessee, my family got more snow than we did this week. In fact, we were under winter warning a couple times already this year, and all we got was a dusting. And I think my family got like 4 or 5 inches. Or 3 or 4. I don't know. It depends on where you live in Tennessee. But, yeah, they got a bunch. Okay, so that goes there. This goes here. I kind of did not attach that properly, but now we're going to put tear and tape on this piece too. Do I want to do tear and tape? I guess. Well, goodness. Come on. I should have put more than one piece, but it's okay. It's just my sample. I like this size box. Like, it's big enough to hold some nice treats, but it's not too big that it won't break the bank if you try to fill it. I didn't really line it up the best, but you can take your scissors and cut that piece off if you need to. It's okay. Now, that's what it looks like. So now we're ready to add our designer series paper. You just get to decide which one is going to be the front and which one is the back. And we're going to decorate the front. So this piece is going to go there. I think even my liquid glue gets a little stubborn when it's cold in here. In fact, it's been staying right at 66. So our thermostat is set for 69 upstairs. And that makes it, 66 down here. Can you believe there's 3-degree difference from upstairs to downstairs? Of course, I think in the old house it was more like 6-degree difference. So did y'all see yesterday? I kind of goofed. I released some videos that were old, that had been unlisted. Some of them had been unlisted by accident. Several of them had been unlisted by accident. Some of them were intentional and some were an accident. And I just went ahead and made them all public. Well, I didn't realize it was going to shoot everybody a notification. So some people got real confused about thinking those videos were new. And I felt really bad. I was like, oh my gosh. But at least now, most of my videos are all public and not unlisted. I guess if you've never posted a video on YouTube, you probably are not familiar with the unlisted option, but all of my videos, when I make them, they're unlisted until I'm ready to make them public. And sometimes I forget to make it public. Okay, there's that part. Now we're going to add this little row of hearts right down here. And I'm actually going to use my silicone craft sheet to add the glue. You can use our adhesive sheets. I'll let y'all in on a little secret. I've ordered those things a couple times and I don't yet have a real home for them. So I don't have a clue of where they are. I had them twice now. 2 different orders and they're MIA. Some things I'm really good and organized, and then others, not so much. Slide this down a smidge, and then I'm going to hold it. Yeah, someone mentioned the host code dates, and they're like, whoa. Okay, so now we're going to line up these hearts, and we're going to attach them with dimensionals. So this one that goes over here, and this one goes over here. I got a fresh new thing of dimensionals. So we're going to add the Highland Heather one first. And then I swear this looks like Baja Breeze. We don't have it anymore, which it was one of my favorite colors. So I guess technically it's probably Pool Party, but it looks like Baja Breeze. Do y'all remember that color? We're adding the Granny Apple Green and then the pink one last. And then all we have left for this is to add our ribbon and embellishments. So your swag bags will include the full bolt of ribbon. So you can use as much of it as you want on this box. Make a big bow, a little bow. Well, goodness gracious, come on. It's being all stubborn. It's wanting to turn on me. There we go. By the way, people were mentioning the other day about that glue dot dispenser. That thing is not being made anymore. Like it's on, you can't find it, you can't buy it. It's not being made. Someone said they stopped production of it. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but now our embellishment. I love these things. So we're going to add one up here and then one down here and one over here. Okay, so we have finished our first project. Do you like it? I hope so. Yeah, it's cute. So this is our first card. And again, the first thing we're going to do is cut the designer series paper. So this is the sheet for this card. Doesn't he crack you up? I got my little clipboard here. I'm putting my supply list on. So card number 1, and let's get our paper trimmer. So we're going to cut the designer series paper to measure 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So this is leftover. I am smelling supper. I put a roast in the crock pot this morning with some potatoes and some Lipton onion soup mix. And I can smell it all the way down here now. Okay, we're going to emboss this layer with the new Gingham mini embossing folder. So I'm just going to line it up in there. The gingham is not 3D, so it's not super thick. So we have a 1 and a 3 and a 3 for the standard. So a 3 and a 3, okay? So there's that piece. We're going to score. I've kind of done this in backwards order, but oh well. We're going to score this at 4 1/4. You know, I agree. It doesn't look very, it doesn't look like gingham to me either. But I was thinking that maybe it was me, that maybe I wasn't getting it. So I'm actually glad to hear that I'm not the only one that thinks that. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I still like it though. So liquid glue on this layer. Yeah, when I went and had my nails done, I said, okay, I'm doing a Valentine class on Saturday, so pink it is. I love this color. This layer is going to go here, but we need to add the ribbon. So this little bow right here was added with a glue dot. So what I did was I taped my ribbon on this layer. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but that's kind of how I like doing it. Makes it a whole lot easier and you don't waste any ribbon. So I'm just gonna, I'm trying to figure out which side is the embossed and which side is the debossed or whatever you call it. You could use Stampin' Up! Adhesive if you want to do that. I've just always used tape for some reason. Maybe I've used way back when we had sticky strip. Make sure I'm opening this the right way. Give that a second to dry. Now we're going to stamp the inside. I don't think I showed that to y'all, did I? So on the inside we have Happy Valentine's Day and a little heart. So we're going to do that before we add the inside so that if I mess up, I can start over. And I do mess up a lot. So the heart and the greeting. Real red is the color. Let me close that before I get it all over me. And then memento. And now we can add that to the inside. Yeah. I could actually give this card to my husband for Valentine's Day. I think we're actually going to be in Key West on Valentine's Day. Oh, I got ink on that. We are actually. Okay, so now we have the greeting in the upper right corner, and then our little robot. And now let's see if I can make this, get this guy on a circle. I usually stamp this on basic white and then cut it out, but pretty good, right? Maybe just a smidge high, but I am calling it good. So we're going to be using Smoky Slate and Dark Real Red. So I'm coloring the little flower thingy, the wrench flower, or gear flower. What's it look like? A gear. Looks like a gear, right? That's it for the Real Red. And then for the dark Smoky Slate, I'm just going around the edge a little bit. Okay. I have never been to Key West. David went when I was pregnant with Brooke. I couldn't travel. He went when I was pregnant with Brooke, but I've never been there, so I'm really excited. Our 30th anniversary was in November, and our travel plans got canceled because of COVID. So it's a good thing that we didn't book something else international again, because it looks like it would have been canceled again. So I'm excited that I'm getting to go somewhere. All my trips for the last 2 years have been canceled. And I'm hoping that I get to go, because still, you watch the news every day and it's like, you never know. Okay, how's that look? Oh, I just realized that that my other one is darker, but I kind of like the lighter one better anyway. We have an embellishment to put right there, but let's go ahead and add this here. And what did I use? I used liquid glue because we're going to pop him up. So this is going to go here. And we'll get a dimensional for him. Ruh-roh, I pulled the backing off. And now our ribbon and embellishment. It's a simple card, but it's so cute, right? And you don't have to fussy cut the robot. Like, you could fussy cut him out, but I think it's, well, let me start over on the ribbon. Let me stop talking. You could fussy cut them, but it's a little difficult. I tried. That flower is what got me. The gear flower. Okay, it needs to be just a little bit smaller. And then the glue dot. Someone asked if I reversed my glue dots. I did not. Since I was going live and Stampin' Live today, I decided to get my old glue dots that I had in my stash. Okay, so here's the outside. Here's the inside. Oh, the embellishment. What am I doing? This time you can use the big one. Or not. Okay, we're done with our second project. Cute, right? Okay, so for the supplies on this one, this time we're using this paper, and it stands like that. So here it is from the side, and then here it is standing, okay? First step, we're gonna cut the Designer Series paper, just like last time. So we're going to cut the paper to measure 2 7/8 first. So 2 7/8. And then we're going to cut that to measure 2 1/4. And then 3 5/8. So as you can see, this is left over. You're going to have lots of extra paper left over after you make your projects. Okay, so we're going to stamp him on this circle and then stamp the greeting on that. If I'm not successful, then we'll just start over. It looks like a pretty small circle to be stamping him, doesn't it? Let's do the greeting first. Okay, we'll set that aside for now. Now we're going to stamp him. Whew. Ah, got it. Yay! And the same thing, we're going to be using Smoky Slate and Real Red. We do use, did I use gray granite in this class? I can't remember. So I'm going to color the heart with the dark Real Red. And then we're going to start, just do a little bit of the dark. And then the light. Okay, this is going to get added to our circle with liquid glue. I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you. Okay, that's done. Now we have to do a little bit of surgery on this Happy Valentine's Day. And listen, you want this thing to be intentionally crooked. Don't try to cut it all straight, because it'll stress you out, because the font's not straight to begin with. So day, happy Valentine's. So there's our greeting. Now we need to do some scoring for our box. Okay, so on the 5.5 inch side, we're going to score this at 1 1/4 and 4 1/4. Then on the 8.5 inch side, we're going to score it at 3 3/4 and 4 3/4. Then we're going to take this piece that measures 3 by 3 1/4. I have to make sure. And on the 3 1/4 side, which I like to call that the landscape side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 7/8. So that's how it looks. Okay. So we're going to fold on the score lines and burnish with our bone folder on both of these. Whoops. Okay, so for this one, what you're going to do, and it's always really hard to explain this, so when you get your instruction sheet, I'm going to say, watch the video, watch this step, because it's really hard to explain. So what I'm going to do is put my finger or my bone folder, whatever, in this corner right here, and I'm going to fold this score line down to this score line here, okay? So fold it and then burnish it with your bone folder. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So fold it down. And sometimes when it's cardstock, it's a little more challenging because it's easier to do it with designer series paper. But that's how it looks now, okay? You're going to flip it and do the same thing on this side. So keep your corner and then fold this score line down to that score line. Burnish with your bone folder and then do this side. Okay, so here is our little box, and this piece here, we're going to put adhesive on that part right there. It's going to seal it. We're going to attach it to the back side, and then we're going to bring it forward, and that's how it's going to look, okay? Now, to hold this together to make it easier to work, we're going to use a little clip. But I'm going to put my glue right there, just on this section. You can use the tear and tape if you want, or the stamp and seal, either one. That should be good. Now, it's going to go like that. I'm just using that clip to hold it right now. So we're going to add our designer series paper to the front. I saved the hardest project for last. So the next one that we're making is a fun fold card. And it kind of makes my head hurt. Now, fun fold cards are just so confusing to me. I really want to learn how to do them better, but it's just so confusing. I'm trying really hard, but the steps are just not natural for me. Boxes and bags don't scare me. But, oh goodness gracious, stop talking, Angie. Hold on. It's a little crooked, but not the end of the world. Okay, now you can glue those parts down, but I don't think you have to. So this is how it sets. I'm going to use my clip to hold it so that I can wrap the ribbon around it to seal it. So that way, when they open it, you don't have to tear anything apart. You could use Velcro here. You could use a magnet here, whatever you prefer. I decided to just use ribbon, especially since you're getting an entire bolt of it. You're going to have plenty of ribbon. So once I get this bow tied, then I will remove that little mini binder clip. And your box number 1 comes with a mini binder clip in your swag bag, so you can borrow that to make this project. Okay, that's not very pretty. Let me start over. What happened? It was because I was talking. Much better. We'll trim the ribbon again in a minute. Oh. Now, let's go ahead and add the greeting. And we're going to use our mini dimensionals. And I'm actually going to use half of a mini dimensional on the day. So that's going to get added first. And then I think Valentine's, can we fit an entire one? Yeah. If you cut it just right. And then happy. And I'm probably going to use a half again. Uh-oh, that one's a little... Maybe my placement is not exactly... Oh, goodness gracious. There we go. Oh, wait, I still need to add embellishments, so I'll keep that in my hand. And we'll add 3 of these. One up here. One up here. And one here. And we're just going to add this with Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're going to put 1 on each side. And you'll have to play around with your ribbon to get it exactly how you want it. But let's see, they both stand. They both look the same from the side. And I think giving him a little shimmery heart with a Wink of Stella would be fitting. Okay, so that is our third project. Our second 3D project. Just like the rest of the projects, the first thing we're going to do is cut the designer series paper. And you are actually going to need both of your sheets of this pattern, but you don't use it all. So you'll have a pattern. This is the first sheet. This is how we're going to cut that one. And then the second sheet, all you're going to use is just a little teeny tiny bit, okay? So we're going to cut our paper first and then make this super challenging card. No, it's not super challenging. It's probably easy. It's just I overthink something. So here it is. The part that for me is challenging is cutting the paper in the right direction and it not being the back side that is correct. So I'm going to start with the first sheet, the easiest one. So this one we're going to cut. The hearts are going this way. So I'm going to cut to measure 1 3/4 and then 4. And that is this little piece right here, okay? So this is piece number 1. The rest of this we'll save for another project. The second sheet, we're going to start, we're going to cut at 1 7/8 3 times, okay? So 1 7/8, 1 7/8, 1 7/8. This is scrap. The first one we're going to cut to measure 3 1/2. This is scraps. So this is 1 7/8 by 3 1/2. The other two we're going to cut at 5 1/4. So they're going to measure 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. There's that one. And here's this one. Scrap, scrap. That is all of our paper that we're going to be using. So let's go ahead and score our card base. So these are the rest of our pieces. This is the cloud punch. Your kits will already have those cut out for you in case you didn't order the cloud punch. I'm going to score this at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold on the score lines, and then we're going to, okay, I have to think about this. So we're going to mark this. This is at 2 inches. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have an erasable ink pen. This one's erasable. I'm just not sure it's going to be seen. So at the 2 inch mark, I'm going to give it a little tick mark. Oh yeah, I can see that. So I'm going to cut from this corner here to that 2 inch tick mark. So I'm laying my card base in the track there. And then I want to line up. Goodness gracious. Don't use a pink marker because you can't see it. Hold on. I got to do that again. I had a blue one out here earlier and who knows where it went. This is erasable too. Okay, so again, the edge is going to go in the track and then this tick mark here. You can use a pencil too. And then now I'm going to take my eraser and erase that tick mark. Okay? So that part's done. And now we have to cut these pieces. So we have this inside panel, and then we also have the outside panel. So again, we're going to use our erasable marker or pencil or pen, and we're going to mark it at 1 3/4 from the top down. So 1 3/4. This is so hard to see with all these lights on. Let me see if this one will probably be easier to see. So 1 3/4. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut both of these pieces at the same time, except I'm going to turn this one this way and this one this way. And so that way it should be in the right orientation when I flip it over. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay. So I'm going to put them together. That one's the back side. I'm going to line up the edge and the track and the tick mark and the track and cut. And then erase my tick mark. And that should fit in this panel. Yes, and it does. Yay. Okay, we have one more that we have to cut. This one, same thing. I'm going to come down 1 3/4 from the top. And I'm going to cut. And that's going to be this piece right here, okay? And then remove the tick mark. I hope I didn't confuse y'all. Luckily, you can rewind these videos and pause them if you need to. Now, the inside of our card. Now you see why I made this card the last one, the last project, because it's, okay, so this is going to go here. This is going to go here. Oh, we got to do the white layer here. Let me get that back out. So the same thing, this Whisper White layer, we have to mark it at the 1 3/4 and then trim it. 1 3/4. And that is this piece right here. So if I were to go from this corner to that corner, that would be wrong. So I should have labeled it on this side. But this is Whisper White or Basic White, so I can just flip it over. Technically, I should be going... Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm saying? Please tell me it makes sense. This is the back side. So this is going to line up there. Okay? And we're going to stamp on that. So let's get our little dude. It's a hot mess on my desk right now. There's lots of paper and stuff going everywhere, but it will all come together very soon. And then now the hearts. The floating hearts. Now we're going to color. Okay, so real red again. You know, I did try to use the purple, and it just was too busy for me. I did try to pull some of the purple from the paper into it, and it just, to me, it was too busy. But you can if you want to. This thingy and his legs. I think I'm going to stick with that gray granite color. I'm kind of liking it, except I need to use the dark around the... Okay, I'm using dark smoky slate for this part. And then I'm going to go with the gray granite. Why not? Okay. Now, oh, I forgot to color his little dingleberry there. Okay. That's going to get attached right there just with liquid glue. And let's go ahead and add our paper. So, designer series paper, I should say. When I woke up this morning, I was like, I have to do everything I can to not mess up this card. So I came down here and I used some other paper, some other pattern paper. And I was like, okay, what's the easiest way to explain cutting this paper so that we're successful? And then we have this one on the inside. You know, you could technically just leave that color. You don't even have to cover this layer right here if you don't want to. You could put another white panel. But you do have enough paper that you can do the whole thing. Okay, so now we're going to add this strip here, and we're going to add that real red. So what I want to do is stamp my robot first, though, because if I mess up, then I can start over. So I'm going to put this where I want it, but then I'm not going to stick it down yet until after I stamp him. Now the whole rest of my room can be a hot mess, but like where I stamp, like this area. Okay, there he is. Now if you'll notice, he has 3 little hearts around him. So what I did was, yes, I licked my finger. I used a Post-it note to get all 3 of those hearts. So I'm going to cover up the big one. Ideally, the Post-it note sticks when it's not wet. Oh, goodness gracious. Whew, it scared me. And just to make sure I don't mess him up. And then another one. Wait, where's the sticky part? Over here. Oh, goodness gracious. Grr! Let's see if I can fix it. I may not be able to. I got it. Whew. Okay, we have one more heart to do up in the upper corner. I still did it. It'll be okay. So now I can go ahead and glue all my pieces down and color him. So let's go ahead and color and then we'll glue. How am I doing on time? Am I running behind at all? I haven't even looked at the clock in a while. Okay, this and this. Legs. And the Can y'all hear my pipes creaking? Not my ink pen, but my pipe, like my heater. So cute. Okay, now we can glue this down. Oh, it's 4:20, so we'll be done by 4:30. So I told my family, I said, okay, I'll be live from 2 o'clock until 4:30. And it looks like it's going to be right on track. And then this is going to go down here. So if you don't have the Stampin' Blend markers, don't forget that if you use my Bingo host code, you get 1 set free with your minimum order. So you just got to use that host code, and I'll show that to you again before we sign off. I always tell people when they ask me, do I really like them? I say, listen, if you buy it and you don't like it, you can't figure out how to use it, I'll give you your money back. I'll take it off your hands, because you don't have to have fancy coloring skills to use the blends. Now we got to stamp on our cloud the greeting. Hopefully I can make it fit inside this little cloud. Yeah, I did. It's a little cattywampus, but it'll be okay. So now this is going to go up here, and I'm just going to glue that down with liquid glue. Oh, sorry, I just spit. Oh goodness, I have ink on my fingers. I'm a hot mess now. This was like a speech bubble to me, right? It looks like a speech bubble, but it's the Cloud Punch. I did get some red ink there. So this is the one we just, oh wait, let's add our embellishments. So that way we can say it's technically really finished. Although I did mess up my ink. So I'm putting this one up here, right on that black ink that was an accident. And then another one down here. And then the last one over here. Yeah. Okay, so there you have it. I did put some Wink of Stella on that heart again, just because it's so cute to do that. Little shimmery heart. Okay, so project number 4, or card number 2, I should say. So this is card 2, and this is card 1. This is project 2, or box 2, and this is box number 1. So there's all 4 of your projects. And don't forget about the Bingo host code. Let's see, how can I make this all fit? Maybe I can't. Yeah. And when I get these projects posted over my website, I'll remind you guys about that. Do you guys like them? Also, I wanted to tell you, so your class packet is going to have extra paper. So, and you also have a conversation box, this little box. Everybody's getting one box, but it's not one of the projects. But this is one of the projects I showed on my blog. So you're welcome to use your extra paper and stuff to make this box, since you're getting a blank one. And with your leftover paper, you could make, one of these. That too is also on my blog. And then I showed you guys this one previously. So with your leftover supplies, you can make one of my other projects if you want to. Yeah, so hopefully you can get lots of projects out of your leftover supplies. Karen said that she passed on the robots and now it's back on her list. You know, they're just so cute, and you can actually use them for, you're actually going to see me use them again for like birthday, because the only one that has anything to do with Valentine's is really this one. Like, and you can put a present, like you can put a little box and make that a birthday present. So the nuts and bolts stamp set, and especially because we get so few stamp sets that are made for little boys or young boys or just masculine. Although they're not, I don't think they're masculine, but you know, that's not technically a flower. That's like a gear. Yeah, so I think this is a really good set for guys, whether they're kids or adults. Anne said, did I fussy cut or punch the hearts out? I cut them out with the coordinating dies. So the dies come, these are the dies. And by the way, this is all the dies that we used on the class today. So we used the scallop contour, the conversation hearts, the layering circles. So we used 3 sets. Is that 3? 1, 2? Yeah, 3 sets of dies. And then we used 2 punches. So we used the cloud and the detail trio. Yeah. Okay, y'all have a great night. Thank you so much.